Let me start with a short story, and I'm sure many of you know this, but this is related to Canadian immigration in today's context. So, the story goes like this. A father and a son, along with their donkey, are going, and they met few people. They were saying, what kind of people they are? Their donkey is going empty. Why can't they sit on a donkey? Which is right? So they said, okay, let the child ride the donkey. So child took a ride, and then they met another few people on their way, and they were telling, look, what kind of people they are? Child is riding a donkey and father is walking. They said, okay. Child thought, okay, let the father ride the donkey now. So the father started riding donkey, and now people said, what kind of people they are? Father is riding a donkey and the child is walking. They said, okay, let's do this thing. Let's both jump on a donkey. And they both started riding a donkey. Now what happened? Now people said, what kind of people they are? Poor animal. They are killing the poor animal. Two people riding on a donkey. They said, what to do now? They thought what to do. They tried different options. So they said, let's do one thing. They picked the donkey. This is exactly what's happening in Canadian immigration right now. So, one thing very important, one size fits all does not work at all. It is your unique situation, and it depends if you know the things very well. So with that, let's get started. Hi, I'm Sukhmani from Sukhmani Immigration Services, Brampton, Canada. I'm a regulated and licensed Canadian immigration consultant. Today's video is very special. As you know, I'm going to pick up a topic of debate and we'll discuss in detail. But before that, I request you, if you have not subscribed to the channel so far, please consider subscribing. We talk a lot about Canadian immigration news, update, tips and tricks on this channel. If you like the video, share it with your family and friends, and don't forget to press the bell icon. So let's get started with a hot debated topic, which is age 40 plus, and a question comes to your mind: should I come to Canada or should I send my kids to Canada? So a debated topic. What I am going to do in this video is I am touching upon the pros and cons, so you make a knowledgeable call. So let's see. So usually the characteristic of a person or an individual who is 40 plus, so I'm saying here the usual characteristics, the general characteristics, right? So they are usually a person who is individual who is above the age of 40 is usually well settled, married usually, and usually with one or two kids. He generally have a stable, good job or a established business. He is usually at the top or pinnacle of his career, right? Probably he may own his own house and has a own car or whatever, right? So he owns assets, right? So he's usually traveled and he has seen the world, and he has knowledge, experience, and of course, since he has lived in a country, born in a country, he has studied, worked in a country, so he has very strong friends and family ties in that home country. So these are usual characteristics. To further talk about this, at the age of 40 plus individuals, usually they have lower risk taking capability. They prefer stability, and they love usually whatever the job or the business they are doing. They love their current job or business, and they are hesitant to learn new skills, and again very resistant to change. So they are very cautious into the new ventures. So these are general characteristics of 40 plus individual, not specific to anyone, but general characteristics. So now look at the age 18 plus. 18 plus age category usually is young, energetic. Since they have studied from good schools, they usually have a good command on English and they can get higher IELTS score. They are ready to always explore the new options. They want to explore, travel world, they want to see the world, and they are usually more tech savvy. Kids these days know computer, mobile applications better than anybody else, right? They have high ability to take the risk. And one thing, they lack experience. So these are general characteristics of 18 plus individual. Now, you have seen general characteristics of 40 plus individual, general characteristics of 18 plus individual. Now here I am telling again and again, neither sending kids is wrong nor your coming to Canada is wrong. Both are right, but again it depends upon your specific situation, right? So cost of sending kids, if you know that, right, you can have a better idea about this. So I am just giving you the broad cost, not a specific cost. Cost of study in Canada depends upon lot of things. It depends upon what program you are in, what university, college you are in, right? So all these things are, lot of things are there, but I am just taking the generalized cost right in front of you. This cost is in CAD, Canadian dollars, and again education cost I have taken for $20,000. So 20,000 Canadian dollars is the cost which I have taken. It can be from anywhere from 15,000 to 25,000, depends upon a lot of factors. And this education cost not only include tuition fee, they include a lot of other things. But I have just taken our average cost here. Cost of living, right? Living cost of living, 5,000 annually, right? Transportation, other costs around 3,000, other costs 2,000. So it's a general cost I have taken, and it comes to, and GIC is not a cost. GIC is for your own purposes, right? So overall, at least 30,000 minimum CAD we are looking at. So 1 year is not sufficient, right? So you have to, generally students go for 2 years of study. So 2 years of study means 30,000 times 2, which is 60,000. So if you have 2 kids, then the cost is not less than 120K. So you have that, in this way you have a better idea of what is the cost, right? So cost of sending kids to Canada is not just the financial cost. Other than the financial cost, right, there are emotional costs for parents, for kids, because there is of course a separation. So there is an emotional cost. Sometimes the kids don't like it, parents don't like to see that, and then there is an immense pressure on the kids to perform, because kids are not coming here for studies, honestly speaking. They are coming here to get the PR. So to get the PR, there is immense pressure on the child, and you pay all these costs initially from your savings. So you run out of the savings. And other thing is longer timelines. How the longer timelines, I'll tell you, right? So longer timelines, entire family may not get the PR, and later you are dependent on the child to call you to Canada. So this is the overall kind of cost scenario. So not just the financial cost, but other things, right, also there. So now looking at the timeline, it is very important to understand the timeline also. So when a student comes, right, from student he takes the postgraduate work permit, and then he becomes the PR. So usually he studies for 2 years, then takes a postgraduate work permit, which is 3 years. During that time he applies the PR and gets the PR usually in a year's time. So around 5 years minimum I am looking at, 4 to 5 years minimum, even if you fast track it, 4 to 5 years, right? So you file your PR, child, if your child wants to file your PR, so he needs to still wait for 3 years to, after the PR, to get the file for you, to start the file. So he needs to have minimum 3 years of return, and not just the normal return. He needs to meet the minimum income requirements. So NOA, notice of assessment, should be really good, and of course your number has to be picked in the lottery, which is really not happening. So an important thing, the child has to sign 20 years of undertaking. So this is the kind of timeline. Now you will have a question, what is the advantage if I become a PR rather than my child becomes a PR? So if you become a PR, the advantage is that whole family can come together. You and your spouse both will become PR, and your child will also automatically become PR. Not just the one child. If you have two kids, both will become PR. So when the child gets a PR, he will study as a Canadian child here in Canada, and he will pay 1/4 of the cost of an international student, right? So you do not have to depend on your child to call you to Canada. And lastly, if you get the PR, you can get the Canadian citizenship. So these are the advantages. Now you will say, okay, now I got the advantages of coming to PR, but how will I come? Do I have options? Well, you have so many options, but the problem is our vision is like, we are looking through the keyhole. So we don't have the broad vision to look at the various options. So here I am going to talk about 10 options which are available for you even at the age of 40. The first option is express entry. Again, I know at the age of 40 plus your score for age goes down, but if you can score well in IELTS, you have experience, you have your spouse can support you, and they can also do IELTS. So still you can really do well in the CRS score, and you have a very good chance in picked up as an express entry candidate. So it depends upon what is your situation. Again, one size fits all do not work in Canadian immigration. So visitor visa to work permit. This is another option. You have a visitor visa to Canada, you come over here, get a LMIA, and based on LMIA you get a work permit and you can settle here. So job offer, this is another option, right? Job offer gives you points in the express entry. Job offer helps you to settle here in Canada. You don't have, if you have the job offer, settlement funds are not required. So there are a lot of advantages, right? Startup visa, SUV, not that kind of SUV. It is startup visa. ICT, intra-company transfer. So I have already a complete video on startup visa. ICT I will take up in another video. It's a detailed information I cannot share in this limited time video. So I will share separately ICT video with you. C11, C10 programs. They come under International Mobility Program. So these are also very good options. I'll try to bring up a video also on these. Self-employed program, which is at the federal level. Then another important category is study visa. Now you will say, at 40 plus study visa, yes, you can still come on a study visa, but it depends what kind of study. You are not going for undergrad study. If you come as a master's or PhD program, you have so many options, and at 40 plus you can still do PhD. So PhD program, if you do, you have options under OIA NP category to Ontario Immigration Program to get the PR. So it depends, right? What is your particular situation? And you can, now the next one is very important because it's like a pool of lot of programs. That is called business PNP programs. So under business PNP programs, every province has programs. So there are around 15-20 programs which are there in business. It depends again on your specific category, your situation. And lastly, so I have a couple of videos already on this, which is pilot programs like Caregiver program. There is no age limit, right, kind of thing, right? So RNIP, Rural Northern Immigration Pilot, and AIP, Agri-Food Pilot, so Atlantic Immigration Program. All these are options. So with that, I am ending the video with a note that neither coming to Canada at age 40 is wrong, nor sending the kids to Canada is wrong. It depends upon your situation. If you are informed, if you know, you can take a better call. So other than that, if you need to know about any kind of Canadian visa or immigration, you can reach out to our office. Our office Address, email and phone numbers are provided here. Once again, if you have not subscribed to the channel so far, please consider subscribing. We talk a lot about Canadian immigration, so we'll get encouragement if you subscribe. And thank you very much for watching the video. Thanks.